Shout out to my dudes Dylan and Benjamin of the Notification Squad. They were first on yesterday's video. I appreciate you guys. If you want to be a part of the Notification Squad, tap that bell and that way you'll never miss a video. What's up guys, T-Mart here, and today we are going to be talking about the score streaks of Call of Duty World War II. So you guys know a couple of days ago I was out in Los Angeles at E3 and I was fortunate enough to be able to play Call of Duty World War II multiplayer, and I had a ton of fun. I really enjoyed myself, and honestly a big part of that was due to the score streaks. The score streaks were a lot of fun. So between my experience of playing as well as seeing some of my friends play and watching gameplays, I've seen a majority of the score streaks in the game up until this point, and I'm telling you guys, they're really worth it. Like, you know, sometimes in Call of Duty games we have streaks that are just kind of there, like they're not really all that exciting, but they're there. And other times we have score streaks that are a lot of fun to use and really reward you for earning them. And I feel like Call of Duty World War II falls in that second category. These things were very satisfying, very effective, and a lot of fun to use from top to bottom. Honestly, one of my favorite streaks that I used was the Flamethrower, and that's the third lowest streak in the game. It only costs 500 points. The only two things below that are the UAV and the counter UAV. So think about that. The third lowest streak in the game is still a lot of fun. It's still very effective. Think about what some of the higher streaks, like super expensive ones, are like in this game. Like it's gonna be insane. I'm really excited. I love Call of Duties that have those good, rewarding score streaks. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna talk about what I saw at E3. I'll list out all of the streaks, tell you guys what they do, how many points they cost. Now, the streaks are probably here to stay, but the points could potentially change by the time the game comes out. So that's just kind of to give you an idea or an example of what they could be like. I'm sure some are gonna change from now until then. And then also, the developers did say that this is not the final list. So we're gonna have 12 streaks here, but that's not all. They are gonna be adding more in later. So we'll kind of talk about what we could be missing, and there was no sign of any sort of nuke or Moab or type thing yet. So we'll definitely talk about that as well. But anyway, let's move on to our list here. The first one is the Recon Aircraft, aka the UAV. It's 400 points, super self-explanatory, nothing crazy there. We've seen that a lot. Next up at 425 points, you've got the Counter Recon Aircraft, and this is the counter UAV. So it costs just a little bit more than UAV, only 25 points, so one little assist. But there is something kind of interesting about this streak. The description says, a fighter that destroys an enemy recon aircraft or counter recon aircraft or blocks enemy recon aircraft. So previously, all a counter UAV would do would be just to block out the enemy team's UAV. You know what I mean? Like it would block out their minimap. If they had a UAV up in the air, it wouldn't work anymore. Even if they had an advanced UAV up in the air, it wouldn't work anymore. Now, your counter recon aircraft is actually gonna like go out and seek out and shoot down these other airplanes, which is kind of cool. So imagine that you're playing a game, the enemy team CUAVs you, then you earn a CUAV, you call it in, it takes theirs out so that now your minimap is clear, and it stays up blocking theirs. Like that's kind of interesting. We've got some counter UAV warfare here, and it looks really cool as well. So unfortunately I can't show you guys any of the images from like the in-game menus and stuff, because a lot of that stuff's gonna change by the time the game comes out. But the Recon Aircraft just looks like your regular old like single engine Cessna aircraft, like something you'd see like crop dusting a field or something. And then the Counter Recon Aircraft, I don't even know the actual term for it. It looks really crazy. It's like a twin engine with a crazy cross tail in the back. I don't know. It looks badass. It's the best looking counter UAV plane that I've seen yet. So I don't know. The CUAV got a little bit of a steroid shot in this game. It's a little bit better than it's been in the past. Now, you guys know what's coming up next here at number 3. I already teased this to you guys. We've got the Flamethrower at 500 points. And, I mean, this is something that it's super low, super easy to earn, but very effective. So I've got a couple of Flamethrower clips here for you guys. Check them out, and then we'll talk about it.
Closing with Anton.
Ich hab ihn.
Enemy is down. Recon airborne. Search. We need reinforcements. Closing with Bear.
So this thing is pretty gnarly, as you guys can see. It's absolutely devastating up close, pretty much an instant kill. So you can run into a room and absolutely clear it. I mean, if you come around a corner and you're up close with an enemy, there's nothing they're going to be able to do. I mean, they might be able to get a shot off, but they're going to be dead by the time they do that. So up close, this thing is absolutely monstrous, but it does have a relatively weak range. It's kind of like a shotgun range or so. So if somebody's outside of that range, it's going to be pretty easy for them to be able to gun you down while you have this thing out. Now, because of that, you don't actually lose this thing upon death. So if you earn it, you call it out, you start spraying people down, somebody kills you, you're still gonna have it when you respawn. You don't run out of it until you run out of fuel, which is down in the bottom right. And you do run out of fuel pretty quickly. Like, I wouldn't call this thing overpowered by any means, but there is a decent amount there. I mean, if you're smart with it, you're not just straight spraying and praying, you can easily get, 4 to 6 kills or so. So it's pretty good. And on top of that, it gives you a little bit of a speed boost when you whip it out. So it's not much. It's kind of like lightweight, and that's pretty good. It's good to kind of close that gap in between you and the enemies. And I was thinking about it, like, think about in objective games. Let's say you're trying to, run a flag back. What if you saved your flamethrower until that moment, grabbed the flag, whipped the flamethrower out, then you had that extra speed? That could be pretty useful. So yeah, that's the flamethrower. Super, super good. A lot of fun to use. It's just really satisfying. I mean, literally burning, torching, flaming your enemies. It doesn't get any better than that. Oh wait, actually, yes it does.
Recon Aircraft, searching for targets.
The screams, dude, they completely make it. It's so good. But yeah, anyway, moving on to our 4th score streak on the list, we've got Fighter Pilot, and this is a player-controlled strafe run. I've got some gameplay for you guys. Check it out.
Recon Aircraft. Strike aircraft ready to engage. Fighter aircraft approaching target.
Now, I never even put this score streak on, so I never got to play with it. That gameplay right there was from a man Hollow. I'm going to link his channel down in the description, but it looks pretty good. I don't know. I mean, it's a really quick score streak. Doesn't really take you out of the game for too long. Couple of seconds. Looks like you might be able to usually get 2 to 3 kills. That's not too bad. It's not quite as satisfying as the flamethrower. And honestly, I think the flamethrower is a little bit more effective, although the flamethrower completely takes over your gameplay, whereas that was just really, really quick. So if you guys want a quick little strafe run in first person, that's the way you go. Now, next up at 550 points, we have the care package. This thing is the plain old care package. It's what we know and love. You call it in, it drops down to the ground, you get some sort of random score streak in there. If you have, there is one basic training that you can have to be able to re-roll it. So, basic care package, we all know what that works like. Now, next up at 650 points, we have the glide bomb. So this is something we actually saw in the trailer. I've also got some gameplay for you guys, but basically it's a remote controlled bomb that drops down from the sky and goes kaboom. It's kind of like a Predator missile. Check out the gameplay here.
Capturing base!
Man, that was a super satisfying whistle on that thing. But yeah, you guys can see it's pretty much like the Predator missile. You drop a bomb down from the sky, you can move it left and right and try to hit enemies. This was Brad's gameplay right there. I'm going to link his channel down below as well. And you guys can see he didn't even really hit that enemy. Like, he was kind of on the wall next to him and it still killed that enemy. So I think the blast radius in these things is going to be pretty big and they'll be pretty effective. Now, next up at 750 score, we have the Mortar Strike, which is a precision strike on 3 locations. We've seen this many a times in Call of Duty, so, we all kind of know what that is. At 850, there's something called an Artillery Barrage, which I don't exactly know what that's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be, I assume it's kind of like the Mortar Strike, but a little bit more devastating. It costs a little bit more, probably lasts a little bit longer. We'll have to wait and see what happens. At 950 score, we have the Flak Guns, which are really interesting. So these things destroy all current enemy streaks and block new ones for a certain amount of time. So these are essentially the EMP of the past. So in the modern warfare and future warfare games, we've had these EMPs and things that take down the airspace, and this is actual literal flak guns. So I'm hoping that you actually get to see them in action. Like, I'm hoping when you call these things in, instead of having like a big explosion of the EMP, I'm hoping flak guns from the outside of the map will actually start shooting down the enemy aircraft and stuff. I think that'd be pretty cool. Now, next up, we have Paratroopers at 1,000 points. This is something that absolutely threw me for a loop during the trailer. So these are AI reinforcements that paratroop down from the sky and start taking out enemies. These are basically the wraps of Call of Duty World War II. And we actually saw these guys in the kind of like reveal multiplayer trailer, and I thought that was going to be some sort of ability. Like I thought that was going to be a spawn-in ability where like instead of spawning down the ground, you could paratroop in and land behind the enemies or something. No, that's a score streak. So they definitely had me worried there. But that's what those things are. Now, next up, we have the second to highest score streak in the game, at least that we know of right now, which is carpet bombing. That's an aerial bombing that takes multiple passes. So you're going to have these giant bombers fly over the map, drop bombs, turn around, fly back, drop bombs. It's going to be kind of cool. Then, finally, last but not least, we have the highest score streak in the game, asterisk, at least as of right now, which is the ball turret gunner, which is where you occupy a B-17G ball turret. If you guys don't know what the B-17 is, it is the big boss hog aircraft of World War II, nicknamed the Flying Fortress. These things were no joke. You guys have seen some gameplay from one right here. This is actually from Call of Duty World at War in a Let's Play over on my Let's Play channel I did a couple of years ago. And if you guys remember the mission Black Cats, where you're out in the Pacific, you had to shoot down all the Japanese Zeros and save the people and stuff, that was all taking place inside a B-17. And I mean, these things, like, you didn't mess with these. If you saw one of these coming, you were running because everything in its path was going to be leveled. So that's the highest score streak in the game as of right now, essentially going to be like a chopper gunner, which is kind of cool. So there you guys have it. Those are the 12 score streaks we know about so far. The question is, are there going to be more? Well, we know there are going to be more, but how many more are there going to be, and what are they going to be? So I sat here, I thought about this, I looked through the list, thought about some of the recent Call of Duties we've had and some of the stuff that we're missing, and we're going to try to see if we can figure this out and take some good guesses. So, so far we know about 12 streaks in World War II, and there were actually 12 streaks in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare as well, Sledgehammer's other titles. So it sounds like, 12 is a pretty good number for them. But in general, most of the Call of Duty games are around 15 score streaks. And I think one of the highest was Black Ops 3, who had 18. So we could be getting anywhere from, I would guess at least 3, if not more than that, added on to this game by the time it comes out in November, which is kind of exciting. Now, one thing we definitely are missing is some sort of a turret. So obviously in current day Call of Duties, we have these sentry guns and stuff like that. They didn't have those back in World War II, but we could have some sort of like, you could have an AI guy that sits on a turret, or you could yourself sit on a turret and have some sort of shield or something like that. I don't know. It could be interesting, but we definitely don't have any sort of turret yet. We also don't have any sort of AI helicopter, and this is obviously a really big deal in all of the Call of Duty games pretty much. Now, helicopters in World War II were in very early stages of development, so although they were, like, they attempted to try to use them in battle, they really weren't all that effective. So I don't know if they're gonna have helicopters. I couldn't really think of anything else they could use in place of like a stealth chopper or something like that, but we were missing that, and that's been a pretty common streak in recent games. And then also, the biggest one that I think is missing is going to be some sort of advanced UAV or Blackbird. I mean, that's my go-to streak. I love using those UAVs that show exactly where the enemies are and where they're looking in real time. And we don't have like anything like that mentioned yet. Now, obviously, we didn't have that kind of tech in World War II, but I mean, they could make it some sort of advanced spy plane or something like that that could end up getting that intel. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. We may get it, we may not. I think it'd be really weird if we don't have it though. Like, that has been in Call of Duty for so many years in a row now. So that could be kind of interesting. And then finally, last but not least, of course, are we going to have that huge 25 kill streak? Are we going to have that nuke? Are we going to have that Moab? What are we going to have? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Do you guys think they're going to do it? Do you think they're not going to do it? Leave comments down below. And yeah, there you guys have it. Those are all the score streaks in Call of Duty World War II. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am going to catch you guys later. More World War II videos coming soon. Peace out.